Unit 6, Prose, the last lesson. About the author, Alphonse Daudet was born on 13th May 1840. He was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is set in the days of Franco-Prussian War in 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia led by Bismarck. In this story, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. They not only wanted to territory but dominate over the language and culture of the Germans. Now, we are going to see in this lesson to find out what impact this had on life at school. See the key points: mother, motherland and mothertongue are three things to be loved, respected and preserved. M.Hamel is the teacher who teaches French. With an iron ruler under his arm, he walks to and fro and teaches grammar strictly. Franz, one of his students, does not like to study. He prefers wandering about to coming to school. Now, the Prussians occupied that place and they ordered that only German should be taught in the schools, not French. After 40 years of faithful service, Mr. Hamel teaches us last lesson. The last lesson of M.Hamel comes to an end with intense feeling and emotions. The gist of the story. The narrator of the story, the last lesson, is Franz. He started for his school very late that morning. He was in great dread because Franz's teacher, Mr. Hamel, told him that he was going to ask questions on participles. But Franz did not know the first word about participles. So he wanted to skip that day's class. The outside natural scenery of a warm sun, chirping birds at the edge of woods, with Persian soldiers practicing their drill in the open fields were more tempting to Franz rather than the rules for participles. But Franz resisted this urge and hurried off to school. When Franz passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the past 2 years, all the bad news had come from the town hall bulletin board. The lost battles, the drought, the orders of the commanding officers, etc. The boy wondered about the crowd in front of the bulletin board and he finally reached Mr. Hamel's little garden. When school began every day, there was a great bustle. It could be heard out in the street. There were the opening and closing of desk lessons repeated in unison and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. But that day, the school was usually silent. Through the window, Franz saw his classmates already in places. With a blush on his face, Franz entered the room. But Mr. Hamel allowed him to enter his class in a kind way. Franz noticed that his teacher was dressed formally in his beautiful green coat, frilled shirt with a little black silk cap. Mr. Hamel wore this dress only on inspection and prize days. The whole school was silent. Franz then saw some great people from his village sitting quietly on the back benches. Old Hauser, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. Everybody looked sad. Franz wondered what was happening that day. Mr. Hamel, in a gentle, grave tone, informed the students that the day's class was the last lesson. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine, since that was their last French lesson. He requested everyone to be attentive as the new master will come next day. Franz felt that day's last French class was very interesting and effective. He felt bad for missing out the previous classes. He understood each and every word taught by Mr. Hamel. Even the village people involved themselves in learning French to show their respect to the master as well as the French language. Mr. Hamel did not scold Franz when he failed to answer his question on participles. Mr. Hamel blamed himself because he had sent Franz to water the gardens instead of learning, and whenever he wanted out for fishing, he gave them holiday. Hamel said that French language was the most logical and beautiful language. They must never forget it and always guard it. When a person clings to his own language, it is as if he had the keys to his prison. As the students were engrossed in their writing work, Franz noticed Mr. Hamel. He understood the feeling of his master. Mr. Hamel was gazing at everything in that little schoolroom. At the end of the class, as Mr. Hamel felt very emotional. When the clock struck 12, Mr. Hamel turned to the blackboard and wrote on it, as large as he could, "Vive la France," meaning, "Long live France." Then without a word, he made a gesture to the students. "School is dismissed, you may go now." The last lesson is a simple story at the beginning, but becomes more emotional at the end of it. This shows the value of something is appreciated only when we lose it. Pride is one's language. Reflects pride in the motherland.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the